Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 20, Food for Thought. I'm Sarah.
I'm Tessa, and this is Checked Out with Green Hills Public Library.
Today's episode is meshing together two of my favorite things, books and food. I think that they have a really similar feeling, or evoke a similar feeling to me, at least. With a book, you never really know what you're going to get, similar to trying a new food. And each book, as you kind of continue reading it, takes you to a new place or can be linked to a new memory. Whereas like with food, you can have that same thing as you continue eating this meal. There's different flavors, the same way there's going to be different characters or plot elements. So I'm really excited for this one. And I think that it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, and I think that food is such a universal experience for all of us, and similar to with books and other media, there's something for everyone with food and with media and books and finding out what you like. And so there's a certain level of similarity in like taste testing and trials and stuff.
So for this episode, Tessa and I both selected 5 genres, and for each genre, we are giving it a specific meal, so think dessert, breakfast, snack, or a different type of cuisine, so think Italian or Asian fusion or like a seafood boil. And within each genre, we have selected a specific book that we paired up with a specific meal. So we'll dive into first each genre, and as we go with genre, we'll also give our example book and meal.
Just so you guys have a basis of where we are coming from, the genres that we decided to include on this episode are fantasy, romance, historical fiction, horror, and literary fiction.
So let's start with romance, since that's my favorite.
For romance, I chose Italian food. Breaking it down, first gut reaction, Lady and the Tramp. They're eating pasta. It's romance, if you will. If we're thinking in terms of like an Italian restaurant, a lot of like the theming is going to have reds, which you would associate with romance. It's going to have like low lighting. And generally, I don't know, I feel like it comes off as very like romantic.
So I did not pick Italian for romance, and yet I do have an explanation for it. I think that with a lot of Italian food, it's very involved. There's a lot that goes into it, and it's really a labor of love. Making that fresh pasta or making that fresh sauce, it's an experience that is a long process. And I always also think of like Italian grandmas, and they just like put so much love into their food. And so it makes sense that Italian is in a way correlated to romance or a romantic experience. Also, like, you're going on your anniversary date, you're going to an Italian restaurant, like, be real.
Right, like you're getting pasta, you're eating carbs, like that's just what the situation is.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're not Lady and the Tramping it on your anniversary, are you even celebrating your anniversary? Like, be for real right now.
The concept of making Lady and the Tramp a verb is crazy.
Well, like, it is, I think. Like, I think that people do that. I think they say that. If they don't, nobody call me out on it, please. Thank you.
Who says that?
The people. The
right,
people say
of course,
that.
the people.
They do.
What was romance for you?
Okay, so this is crazy because for all of them, I chose like specific types of cuisines from different regions, except for romance. For romance, I went with a dessert. And I get it. It seems very lazy, but hold on. I've got an explanation here, okay? A dessert usually has a couple layers. Like, when you're eating a dessert, there's either like a layered cake, or they will sometimes add like a little bit of salt. Like, have you ever sprinkled some salt on your chocolate chip cookies? Like, it makes all the difference. So there's something there that is deeper than it just being the sweet delight. There's like a little bit something that just makes it more interesting. And I think that sometimes people forget that about romance, or at least it's something that romance authors and folks that read romance are really trying to share with the world, that romance is the perfect place for you to talk about grief, familial relationships, finding yourself. And so I think that that's why it reminds me of a dessert, because there's so many elements to it And sometimes desserts are really, really involved. Like, I'm not a baker. I can't bake. There's too many instructions, it's too precise for me. So it just really reminded me of dessert. It's also, I think, my favorite thing.
It goes back to the labor of love, like, sentiment that we said about Italian food too, is baking is so precise. So much goes into it. It takes a lot of time. You have to wait for things to chill or things to rise. And so I think that though they were very different in our choices for this, there's also still a pretty solid similarity.
I think you also, like, at least me, I crave dessert. Like, I want a slice of chocolate cake.
You need a sweet treat. After you have anything, you need a sweet treat. That's just the rules.
And that is a romance book. Like, you need that sweet treat.
Yeah, like a palate cleanser. For my romance recommendation, I went with Nocticadia by Carrie Lake. And this is definitely not a sweet treat romance there. It's got, like, worms. I can't, no.
Yeah, that's so romantic, actually. So romantic. Definitely. I mean, what do they have, those things? Those little like, they're little, like, mud things that have the gummy worms in them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, dirt cup.
Dirt cups. Exactly.
Exactly. Okay, great. Nocticadia is a dark academia gothic romance that I wouldn't say it's a fantasy romance, but there is like an element of what they're studying that is not of our normal world. But it follows this girl. Her mom died because of these parasites. The only people she's ever heard talk about them are these people that are publishing papers from the university. She goes to this school. It's a whole thing. There's a very not nice professor. It's fun. It's good. My meal I paired with it is going to be like a spicy vodka pasta. There's a lot of things going on there.
It's spicy. It's vodka. It's pasta.
Exactly.
It's Nocticadia. It's got worms like spaghetti.
Yeah.
That was crazy, but okay.
But okay. What is yours?
Okay, so I need everyone to hold my hand, and I'm only going to say this once. When I chose my books and, like, my genre and cuisine matchups, I didn't pick the book thinking, hey, this romance book, it's going to be a dessert. No, I just went with the vibes of the book. I said, what food does this remind me of? So keep that in mind, okay? And don't sit here and be like, well, she said romance was a dessert, and she didn't even give us a dessert. Like, be nice to me, okay? Thank you.
We're trying our best.
Exactly. So, I'm really excited about this one. I chose Pot Shot by Laura Piper Lee. I loved this book. It's fantastic. If you haven't read it, you should definitely pick it up. And the dish that I paired with it is paella, which is like a Spanish rice dish that has lots of different seafood in it. So it can have mussels, oysters, shrimp. It's just got a lot going on. And the reason that I picked it is because it has so many things going on in it. And I think that Laura does that in Pot Shot. So quick little brief about Pot Shot. It is a romance, of course. And it's sort of a second chance. They were high school rivals, and one of them goes to Harvard, becomes a doctor, and then he's put on probation. So he comes back to his small town where his high school rival has been dealing with chronic illness and has found that marijuana has been really helping her. And so alongside the local doctor, she's been kind of helping other members of the community find different strands of marijuana that help them with their chronic illnesses or chronic pain that they're feeling. And it's the two of them going head to head because he's a really uptight doctor and, you know, she's free-spirited. And so they're kind of at each other's throats with how they've been helping patients and treating patients. And then they fall in love. But there's, like, so much there, the same way that there's so much with paella. Like, you have so many different flavors and textures, and it just really reminded me of Pot Shot. And if you've got anything to say about it, just send us an email. Thank you. Next up is horror. I chose Asian fusion, but mostly like Japanese food, or specifically sushi and sashimi, because it's so cutting edge. It's extremely flavorful. It like packs a really big punch. When I think of Asian fusion, I think of something that is going to have so many different flavors, and horror is this up and coming cutting edge genre that we're hearing a lot about now, and it's getting a lot of traction. And it's really a great place for authors to flex their creativity, because it's can be kind of fantastical. It's still in the real world. Some people are a little bit like turned off by it, the way that they might be by raw fish, but it's just so fun. It's so fun and fresh. Literally.
Yeah, and aesthetically, like a piece of raw fish, it's giving horror movie. It's giving the eyes are the best part. See, we have very different answers. Our trains of thought were in the same station. I did snacks and beverages for horror similarly, because you can do so many things with that. You can go down so many different routes. There's so many subgenres that exist within horror. And also, like, I feel personally for me, when I'm reading horror or even watching a horror movie, like, it's the theater of it all. Like, I need my popcorn, I need my soda, I need my M&Ms, that situation.
And that's fair. I, on the other hand, can't really eat no, that's not true. I can't eat. The gore doesn't faze me when it comes to food. I don't feel grossed out by it. So yeah, fair. With some like something sour, oh yes.
No, exactly. But you can do anything. With snacks, you can do combinations of different snacks. I love a beverage. I need at least 2 beverages at all times. So my love for that and my love for horror, they're equal in their amounts.
What's your go-to beverage when you're reading?
Depends on time of day. In like the actual daytime, probably an energy drink. If we're like nighttime before bed, tea, like a hot tea. Sleepy time tea. What do you know about her?
Absolutely nothing.
It's so good.
Really? What's like the flavor?
It's like chamomile and like kind of minty. It's good. I will bring you some. And there's like, I don't think there's like melatonin in it. There might be, I don't know. But it's good. Oh, but in the winter time, a hot chocolate.
That's good. I don't think I can do hot beverages when I'm reading. I got like too many things going on, I think, when I'm reading.
Oh, like it's gonna get cold? I like just have to keep it in my hand or I won't. If I put it down like on a coaster, yeah, she's dead to me.
Yeah, like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
That's how it is for me with any drink, actually, not even hot drink.
And you know, that kind of happens to you with horror too. Sometimes it doesn't click and you just look away and you never go back to it.
Exactly. Well, we're going to just move past that point. I mean, you're right. I do DNF horror often and quickly.
And you should.
Thank you. Okay, now I'm happy and we can move on. So what I chose is not Asian fusion or like Japanese, but it is very cutting edge. And the book is Rest Stop by Nat Cassidy. And the food is steak tartare.
And if you haven't read Rest Stop, you're probably like, okay, girl, whatever. To me, I want to puke.
Yeah, it's probably one of the goriest, but also just anxiety-inducing books that I've ever encountered. And I read a lot of horror, I think. It's a quick novella that will have you never wanting to go into a rest stop again. And it's just... yeah, it's very anxiety-inducing. I think that's the best way that I can describe it, which you might be wondering, well, what's anxiety-inducing about steak tartare? And to that, I say it's raw meat. And like a lot of people are afraid of that. It's also like the way that it looks or the way that it's plated. A lot of the times it will be chopped up and like put in a little kind of cylinder type thing. Sometimes they have a little tiny quail egg on top. And that's like real crazy. It's good though, with some like toasted bread. Eat that up.
I've never had steak tartare, so I cannot comment. But Your metaphor, she makes sense. Your explanation, I'm right there with you. Rest stop is terrifying. Yeah. I won't go into... No, that doesn't happen for me anymore.
You will catch me dead on the side of the road before I enter a rest stop after that book.
And if you enter the rest stop, you also might be dead on the side of the road. For my recommendation, I would recommend Breathe In, Bleed Out by Brian McCauley. This, I'm not going to sit here and say it was like 5-star best thing I've ever read, but it really captured the energy that I wanted when thinking about horror and equating it to snacks and beverages. And my meal, if you will, we kind of already alluded to it, but it is popcorn and sour candy, because it's quick, it's fun, it doesn't do anything life-changing or super original, but like it is what you are looking for when you go into a slasher book like this. And this follows our character Hannah, and she goes to a spiritual retreat in Joshua Tree, and there's a guru, his belief in the supernatural world, and she thinks she finds healing in this tech-free space, but there's something underlying. So think like White Lotus, but like make it camp.
You really got me. I'm there. Like camp as in like that's so camp, or camp as in like summer camp?
Yeah, we're making it campy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'm sad. Because White Lotus is like already kind of camp.
Yeah. It very much plays into that like style of horror, which I think lends itself to like popcorn and sour candy. Like you're just moving through it super quick. I read it in one sitting. It's fun. You should try it.
I also like the title. That's good. Breathe in, bleed out.
Yeah.
Period.
Especially that they're at like a retreat where they're doing like meditations. We love her. Cover, so good too.
I think that's on my TBR, so maybe I'll bump it up. So moving on from horror, but keeping it in the H family of the genres, we're going to historical.
For historical, I went soups and stews.
Yes.
Because like
meat cake.
I don't know. Like they didn't have a lot of resources to be making anything too crazy. It was sad. A lot of times you're reading them about people who don't have a lot of money and they need to be fed. And soups and stews are gonna do it for you.
Also for me, for some reason, it was always cold. Like, why was it always cold in the past?
No, exactly. Thank you. But also, like, the historical fiction that I have read very much is taking place in, like, Victorian era or the Great Depression or World War II. So, like, we really were in, like, a bad...
The trenches.
We were in a really bad state. No, like, literally in the trenches.
Like, actually, they were in the trenches.
So, I'm not here to say that all historical fiction is that way, but the ones that I've read are. And that's, like, not shade. Like, I read them because they're in that time period. But, yeah, a soup, a stew, that's just how I feel.
I want to just quickly say that the reason I think it's always cold in, like, history is because in 7th grade, we were learning about some war, right? And we pull up to school and we walk into our class, and our 7th grade teacher had opened up the windows, and it was February in Chicago.
I have a crazy thing to say. Finish your story, but I have a story too.
So February in Chicago, teachers got these windows wide open. She has the desks arranged in rows. She says, when you walk in, take your shoes off, take your socks off. Crazy, right? So we do what we're told. And she's like, find your desk. You're going to crouch down underneath your desk. She was trying to show us what it was like to be in the trenches.
Really crazy. There was a teacher at my middle school, and she would make kids take their shoes and socks off, and they would have to walk outside because that's what was going on when they were taking people to concentration camps. And hey, that's not okay. That's not allowed. We can't do that. She did it though. It was crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what was with these history teachers and
Like,
having children take their shoes and socks off.
Like, I
that's just
believe
not
you.
cool.
I believe you. I believe you it was terrible. Like,
Yeah,
you don't have to convince me.
Exactly. I don't need to experience that firsthand. But that's why I think it's always cold in history. Because my little feet were on this cold linoleum floor, click-clacking away. Like, that's horrible.
Yeah, that's really bad.
So,
yeah,
that's
what's yours?
We're gonna bring it back. Okay, we're gonna bring it back. We're gonna take us back in history to Italian food. Okay, that's what I picked for historicals. Why? It's kind of opposite to you. I said that historicals are like very rich with a lot of history. Like there's a lot happening there. Italian food, very rich. You're eating 2 noodles, it's over.
Yeah, it's a very like heavy food.
And again, historicals, sometimes heavy topics. Sometimes you're in the trenches with no shoes on. So there you go. The work just does itself for you. You don't got to think about that too much, guys.
Exactly.
And I implore you not to think about it too much. Thank you.
My recommendation for historical fiction is Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys. I did like a beef stew, but also like maybe just a vegetable stew, because I don't know that they were in a good spot for meat. Anyway, we're going back to my Titanic child roots. This is not a Titanic book, but it is a shipwreck book, and it follows the little-known sinking in the Baltic Sea by a Soviet submarine of a cruise liner that was repurposed for a wartime hospital ship. It's called the Wilhelm Gustloff. You follow 4 different teens that come from very different places, but they all end up on this boat, and you get to see how it all happens, how it all sinks, if you will. But I'm almost positive there's a scene in that book where they're eating stew of some kind.
So the way that you feel convinced they were eating stew is the way that I feel convinced that in Slewfoot, they were eating minced meat pie. Like, it had to be happening there, okay? Don't know if it is true or not, but that's why I picked Slewfoot. I also don't read a lot of traditional historical. It's either going to be like cloaked in with horror or romance. I went the horror route with this one. So it's set in 1666.
Yikes.
Exactly. Colonial New England. Think Salem witch trials, think The Crucible, and that's for me. I got a cat named Binks. I love the Salem witch trials. I love learning about them. And I also love The Crucible. So it's all of that, but there's an element of horror and fantasy in it because our main character, she's going through all this struggle with her brother-in-law and property laws. And so she ends up befriending this folklore, fantastical like creature of sorts. And we're not really sure if this creature is good, if this creature is bad. They hang out in the woods a lot. And there's just something like very dark and sinister about the story as a whole. I recommend reading it because it comes along with illustrations. There's about like 8 or 9 illustrations in there. So it really adds to the vibe. But it's a very like earthy, dark book. And for some reason, like minced meat pies also remind me of witches. So that's why we went that route. It's like, I don't know, it's dark, it's warm, it's cozy. It's spooky a little bit because, I don't know, you don't know what's in there. Minced meat, I hope, but like, you don't know.
No, I get it. Slewfoot has been on my TBR for a really long time, and I like own it. So I should probably, maybe in the fall, and then we can have minced meat pie. So now we're going into literary fiction. I would like your input here. What do you qualify as literary fiction versus like general fiction? Because they're different. What are your thoughts?
They are different. And to that I say, if the Goodreads tag is literary fiction, it's literary fiction. No, I'm kidding. Maybe. Literary fiction to me is going to be something that the writing and the prose is very like well thought out. There's a lot of metaphors. There's a lot to dissect there. So I can also give like examples of what I think fiction is. Taylor Jenkins Reid, I think she's fiction. Like, I think she just writes straight fiction. Whereas,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah. Whereas, like, I think that literary fiction are the folks, and I don't mean this in any way, but they're the folks that are up for, like, the Pulitzer Prize. Like, that's more literary fiction to me.
I'm interested to see if you think the book I chose is literary fiction. I think it is. I also don't know if you've read it, actually. We'll find out. For literary fiction, I chose breakfast foods. And hear me out. It's classic. Breakfast is classic. Is that true? I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think so. Obviously, breakfast and like what the classic breakfast is differs wherever you are, but not that literary fiction is necessarily a classic or a modern classic or going to be considered that eventually, but I feel like it's the nature of what they're doing is comparable to like a classic. That's why I went with it.
Yeah, that was really eloquently said. So anything I said before, you guys can scratch that. My mind like snagged on something that you said where like breakfast is classic, and it is. Like, it's arguably the most important meal of the day in so many different cultures, and so many different cultures like have breakfast type food, like rituals surrounding them as well. I can only speak for like Middle Eastern culture, and we throw down for breakfast. Like, breakfast is, it's huge. There's 1,000 little tiny plates of dipping and breads and different types of eggs and things going on. So it's like, it's so layered, and it's so important to like have that. It's also a family meal, and it stands the test of time. Like, everyone is doing this. Everyone is having this breakfast.
Yeah, that is definitely, it wasn't like an everyday thing for me, but it was a very common occurrence growing up that we would have like a family breakfast on Sunday. Like, that's just what it was. And like you said, like there's 1,000 little plates of different things, and you're having a little bit of everything. And you're like Litvic could have so many different, not even like subgenres, but like micro tropes or certain like things that are occurring in literary fiction that you wouldn't change what the genre of the book is, but different things are happening within it.
Definitely a lot of different themes and threads in literary fiction. And I think also no one really talks about how hard it is to make breakfast. Breakfast has so many elements, and I think
the timing,
yeah,
trying to time things out is like a horror movie. Maybe it should have been horror.
It is. It's a very complicated meal to make, and like the conversation that we just had prior to this about what litfic actually is, it's a complicated genre, and you got to get the timing right on it. There's so many elements that an author is juggling, and even a reader is juggling while consuming this book. So there's a lot at play there. So breakfast is a really good pick.
Thanks.
So again, I went the regional route, and for litfic, I picked Latin cuisine because there's so many different layers to it, and there's a lot of depth in terms of flavor, which I think that there's a lot of depth to unlock in a literary fiction novel. I think that that's kind of the point of literary fiction, is to have you thinking about something and to see how deep the author can go with a certain thread. So, for example, like mole, that's got like chocolate in it. That has like different flavors, it's got different flavors, a lot of depth there that reminds me of litfic. And the book that I picked is Headshot by Rita Bullwinkle. And it's a collection of short stories, sort of. Like, it's told through short stories because it has so many different perspectives. And I paired it with ceviche because ceviche has so many different flavors and different parts to it, different moving parts. It's usually got some type of a seafood, typically shrimp, and it's got a lot of lemon. It's got like some cilantro, some red onion. It usually has like a fruit, or it can have a fruit, so a mango in it. And I think that like it just shows the layers and the depth in literary fiction very well. And in that similar vein, like I said, Headshot is a collection of different stories or different perspectives from these female boxers, and it shows them in their teens and their 20s, like having these boxing matches like at this one tournament, and it flashes forward and in their past lives to kind of give us more perspective on like who they are as a person outside of this match.
That sounds really good. I remember you reading it, but I didn't realize the structure of it was like that. So the book recommendation I have is Blue Sisters by Coco Malors. And accidentally, we did something there. We cooked? ?
We could.
So I chose Blue Sisters by Coco Malors, and what I paired it with was like your classic pancakes, eggs, bacon, toast. And this is where we cooked. Blue Sisters is at its core, as the title indicates. It's about sisterhood. It's about family. It's about how disjointed your relationships can become within family. And at what point do you identify as a daughter, a sister, or do you identify as yourself, as a self? And it explores those different things. But I thought it was very interesting that we talked about breakfast being like a family thing and like pulling everyone together. So unintentional. But Blue Sisters follows 3 sisters. There used to be 4 of them. One of them took her own life. And you follow the 3 other ones as they're spread out through the world and how they simultaneously want nothing to do with each other but are constantly pulled back to each other, and just like what it means to, like I said, be a sister, be a daughter, but also like to be yourself, and that you can't always let that take over. Like what you are to other people is not all you are. And it's them learning that. And it's very like there is a plot, but it is very like slice of life-ish, where you are just like getting all these scenes of these characters going about their lives.
The last thing I want to say about lit fic, because it really got me thinking, and like what you just said now is that it's slice of life, is that I do think that maybe like that's what makes lit fic, is that it isn't some elaborate story that's being told in terms of what's happening or all the moving parts. Like, yeah, there are a lot of moving parts in terms of theme, but it really just follows people, and it can be like a character study a lot of the times, or it's looking at someone dealing with all these plot elements that are happening to them and the emotions around that. So I think that also defines a lit fic.
Fantasy. It's time. It's time. We're doing it. And I would be remiss to say that the genre of food for fantasy is not like a medieval times. When I say this, I mean like the place medieval times. I'm not copping out and being like whatever they ate in the medieval times. One of their feasts. How would I not say that? That's exactly what they're eating.
Yeah, it's like a big old turkey leg.
No, exactly. Like a ginormous one. And they're like all in like long hall tables. Yeah, you know. You've seen Game of Thrones.
I know. Yeah, that's
what I'm
exactly
talking.
what I'm picturing. I'm picturing Game of Thrones, but also like medieval times, the place.
Yeah, where they're like jousting in the.
Yeah. No, like literally, that was our elementary school field trip.
Oh, ours was Haunted Trails.
Dang, sick.
Yeah. Yours is kind of sick too, though.
Yeah, they'd have like little paper crowns, and like they did joust.
Yeah, that's cool. We mini golfed.
Yeah, I love medieval times. I think I have to go back there as an adult.
Should we go? Podcast field trip.
I think so. Podcast at medieval time. You can actually like go and get a picture. I have a picture from when I went. So like we have to do it, I think. It's gotta happen. So for me, I just went general seafood. And this one was very much influenced by the book that I picked. So it was like the egg came before the chicken for me on this one. Sorry, guys. But I'm picking seafood too now that I'm really thinking about it, because the sea is a scary place. And for me, fantasy, she's scary. There's dark fantasy, romantic fantasy, romantasy, fantasy romance, general epic fantasy, those big old door stoppers that you and Patrick are reading all the time. Like, there's so much. It's so scary. It's a whole different world. And the sea, it's a really dark and scary place down there for me. So that's why it's fantasy.
I didn't really elaborate on why, because it was a little bit self-explanatory. But I'm thinking, like, it needs to be a big meal because we don't know when we're going to eat again. Like, we are, like, out here, we're fighting wars. We're once again in trenches.
We're riding dragons.
We're on boats in the sea. Like, we don't know. So when it's time for us to do that, we're having a big feast. And on that note, the book that I want to make a recommendation for is The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. This is like classic fantasy, fairy tale, folklore situation. We are following Owen Mallory, who is a folklorist and a writer, and he is continuously sent back in time to change the story of Una the Everlasting, who is this knight that is like held to the highest bar. She's treated almost like she was a myth when she was a real person, and he is like magically transported back into this situation, and every time he's transported back into it, it's to save her life, and every time she dies and every time he falls in love with her. This is like textbook masterclass on yearning to like an obscene degree. So good. But my point with that is we are at feasts because we have long journeys and we haven't eaten in a while, and then we go visit someone and we're having a feast. So it's perfect.
It also seems like it's perfect for me. I love yearning.
Based on your thoughts about Wild Reverence, I do think you would really like The Everlasting.
Okay, perfect. Adding it to the TBR. Let's go. So, as I mentioned, my book and food pairing actually influenced the cuisine / meal that I chose. And I chose seafood. And the book that I chose was Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. And the food pairing I gave it was carpaccio, which is usually a very thinly sliced like octopus or squid. And it is like set in some kind of like citrus liquid, kind of like a ceviche, but different. Okay, so don't come at me. But it reminded me of Shield of Sparrows because that book takes place over the sea for a very long time. And again, fantasy is very scary to me, similar as the sea is. And this book is pretty fantasy forward, I would say, especially for it being considered like a romance fantasy or romantasy. It follows our main character that gets roped into this arranged marriage as like an alliance sort of things. You know how it goes in a fantasy book. And so she has to travel with him through the sea to get to the kingdom that they are going to be ruling. Along the way, though, that there's a lot of different layers. There's like this guardian guy that is this like super protector person that is journeying with them to this new kingdom, as well as a whole bunch of like monsters that they are fighting along the way. So it's very like war oriented and fantasy forward because it takes place on sea. And for some reason, I always think that they're battling giant squids, which I don't think actually happens. But in my mind, it does for some reason. So
I don't think that happens.
Something I read, like there's a kraken somewhere or some kraken-like creature.
You always say that, but I read that book and I don't know that that's true.
I know there's giant birds.
And there's a big tree house. That's what I know.
There is a big tree house. That was really crazy. It was giving Magic Treehouse. But yeah, that's why I chose like an octopus carpaccio, because I guess I misremembered they were fighting some kind of squid-like beast. And I guess that's my bad. But I stand by my cuisine and my meal for this book.
Okay, so that wraps up food and books and our food for thought. But before we leave you guys today, we do have our book talk. We read Pet by Akwaeke Emezi. And Sarah, you want to tell us your thoughts?
I have been on an Akwaeke Emezi kick this whole year, and they might just be my author of the year, to be honest, but I don't want to call it too soon. But I have read a lot of their work, and I'm really enjoying everything, and Pet was no exception. It is a YA sort of like fantasy sci-fi book. I would say more sci-fi than fantasy. And it deals with these two teenagers that live in this world where there's no crime. They have eliminated all sorts of evil, quote unquote. And one day, our main character's mother's painting comes to life. And they call the painting Pet because Pet is kind of like this sort of monstrous protector figure, like angel type of thing. And Pet's like, hey, there's actually evil still in this world and we need to eliminate it. And they go through this journey of trying to figure out where the evil is. And I don't want to give like too much away, but I would really pay attention to any content warnings here before you go into it. And do keep in mind it is YA, but it doesn't read very YA. You know, I was very enjoyable as like through an adult perspective. I really enjoyed it. I loved the premise, and I will be reading the prequel as well.
Yeah, I feel like with Ikweike's writing, you can always expect it to be the unexpected and be very different than what you're usually reading. I also really loved Pet. I thought the character work in such a short book was really well done. Just like the concept of Lucille, like the city they live in, also crazy. I also will be reading the prequel Bitter. I think that Bitter was a character that I definitely wanted more of, so I'm really glad that they decided to write their story too.
And I think it's important to know we both did it over audio, and I would definitely recommend going the audio route. I think that the narrator voices Pet in a fantastic way, and it just made everything feel more visceral and film-like, which was really, really enjoyable. So I'm glad that we went that route. That concludes this month's episode. As always, feel free to reach out to us by email at podcast@greenhillslibrary.org.
Thanks so much for listening. This has been episode 21, Food for Thought. I'm Tessa.
I'm Sarah, and we're checked out.